welcome to the show. We've got another exciting show planned for you today. Some of the things coming up, we've got some music reviews with Andrea. She's going to be popping in. It's going to be great fun as always. Hopefully we won't fight too much, but you can never be sure what's going to happen on this show. Later up after that, we're going to have some more highlights. We're going to talk some news, and hopefully we might have a special guest into the studio a bit later who we can have a chat with. So welcome back to the part of the show where we're going to do our regular segment, music reviews. Andrea is back with us. You actually came back this time.
I did. I was a little bit scared, to be honest, from last time, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's always the spirit. That's what we love to hear on this show. So what tracks have you picked out for us to listen to today?
Well, I went with one that I knew that you would hate. And
that's really, you're giving the fans what they want to see, isn't it?
I know,
you asked for it, we're going to give it to you. Let's see.
Yeah, so one that you'd hate, and then one that I thought you might actually like. So I thought I'd show you a bit of a hatred, a bit of like, you know.
That's how I like things. That really is the variety, the spice of life. That's what we want to hear. So our first song, actually, do you want to go and introduce it for us, Andrea?
Sure. Am I going to go for the love?
No,
or the hate?
Let's go for the hate. Let's get that out of the way, so then we can end on a positive, so I know that you'll come back.
Okay, sure. Rightio. Okay, so the first song we're going to listen to today, guys, is one from my favourite Aussie band, the Jezebels, and we're going to listen to their latest single, City Girl.
So what can you tell us about the Jezebels?
Oh my god, what can I not tell you about the Jezebels? I don't know, I just love them. Their music is just insanely, it's all about the just building up and the instrumentations, and the lead singer, Hayley Mary, her voice is just insanely amazing, and the way she dances and performs on stage is just literally mesmerizing.
So, you guys know how we do it here. Somewhere along the edges of our screen here, we're going to have a little link into the track. So, if you guys want to pop off and have a look at that, I'm going to be pointing, it's going to be its location. So, click just right here, right now. Go off and see the track, and make sure you open it in a new window, and we're going to come back, and we're going to be talking about the track. Alright, we're back from watching that. In case you missed in our section, I just got very badly hurt by Andrea's reverse sexism. But that aside, evening the score there. Do you want to? What's your thoughts on this song? What single is this from the album? The album was.
So this is their debut album, Prisoner. So yeah, I think this is possibly their fourth single. And I'm gonna be honest, I've listened to this album 1,000,000 zillion times over and over and again, and I absolutely love it, but I think they choose the worst songs to be their signals. Anyway, the first one they had, which was, what was that song now? Endless Summer. That was a good commercial hit. They
came out in the middle of summer. Was really, I think, a lot of people's summer track.
No, I think it came out in winter actually.
Did it? Well, was it the rest that took us that long to catch on to it? But I do remember driving back from the beach and and hearing that song and thinking that it really did sum up. That was a great track. I do love it, but I think with a lot of, you can't really listen to the Jezebels without bringing up the fact that there is a large similarity between each of their songs. It's not saying that I don't enjoy the atmospheric drive, the crescendos and that, but is it too much? Is this the fourth single that's been that? How much more can they build without giving us a payoff?
Yeah, I definitely get that, and yeah, I guess most of their songs sound the same, but that's why I love them. You listen to the album and it's a journey and it's all consistent. I think opposed to listening to, I noticed you listen to someone like Gautier's album, Making Mirrors, and fantastic pop songs, solid. But to me, it's not consistent, and I don't feel like I'm going through this solidified journey when I listen to the album. Jezebels, I feel like I'm taking that journey, and when I want to listen to the Jezebels, I want to listen to the Jezebels. If they mixed up their songs, I would probably be cut. I would be devastated. I want to listen to that sound, and I want to listen to it over and over again.
It's sort of, when I sort of think about that overriding style, it sort of makes me think back, and this may be a reference going back to the 90s here, so watch out kids, if you weren't around there. Maybe you were 3 years old when this album came out. But Pearl Jam's 10, which was a really breakthrough, famous album. Great songs, Alive, Even Flow, Ones, and for me, they were songs of my childhood. I can't tell the difference between Even Flow or Alive nowadays. I really don't know what Pearl Jam song it is till about the chorus. Do you think that's something that's going to stand the test of time? Do you think, you know, is this really summing up what it's like to live in that contemporary society that they represent? You know, does this music say something about your life, or is it just an atmospheric journey for you?
No, I think it does represent, like, a lot of their lyrics, especially their older songs, so maybe not even so much on this album, but in the EP work they did beforehand, a lot of it deals with, like, gender issues, not reverse sexism, actual traditional normal sexism, and I like that. I think it really sums up where we're living today, yeah. And
so what do you think we can... do you see in the future for the Jezebels? Obviously they're overseas at now. We can see that they've remained true to their indie roots. We've got to give them credit there. Flogging away, being credible and that. Do you think they're going to break? Do you think we'll see them perhaps, you know, are they going to get a huge overseas contract like the Greats did or something like that? Do you think they're going to pay off like that? Or is that time where overseas labels are willing to invest huge amounts of money in Australian bands? Is that really gone?
Look, I think there'll become a point where they will get onto a major label. It seems to happen to all bands. Like, and I guess I don't know too much about the nitty-gritty business side of things with the music industry, but it seems like that seems to be the way to do it and the smartest way for bands. So I think it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to change their music. I think they'll let them be. I think they'll let them do what they want to do, and they'll keep producing fabulous stuff.
So now it comes to the controversial time to rate this. What rating are you going to give it?
This song, I am going to have to give it 3.5, yeah.
See, I'm still going to give it a 3. Although I'm going to give it 3 vanilla ice creams though. Because to be honest, it's a little plain. It's nice, it fills the hole, but I'm sort of waiting for something to really excite me from the Jezebels. It's not something that's happened to me yet. So hopefully we'll wait in the future and see what happens. And Batman's gore. I'm Batman. Did Batman... No, obviously the movie Batman didn't flop like my Batman action figure there.
Clearly not.
So now we're going to move to our second act. Andrew's going to introduce this now to us, so I'm actually probably not even going to use this segment where I'm talking directly to you. So do you want to take the camera, Andrea, and tell us what's coming up next?
Sure. Okay, so now I've gone for one that I have a feeling Rowan might like. I've tried to chuck a bit more of a punky sound in there, so we're going to listen to some Royal Headache. What song are we doing?
I believe this one that we're going for is called Down the Lane.
Oh, yep, so we're going to listen to Down the Lane.
Obviously, we're getting straight down to the streets here, so I'm really excited. I actually don't know too much about this band. I've actually never really heard them before, but Andrea's recommending that I like them. She knows what I hate, so maybe she might know what I love. So we're going to play it now and see what happens. Alright, we've just come back from that one, and as usual, Andrew is right. I found that just to be a pumping, amazing track. I want to know more about this band. Do you know anything about them? What can you tell me about Royal Headache?
Yeah, well, I think they're a bit of a Melbourne indie band, like Triple J Unearthed. I think you can check out their stuff on there. They had their first debut album come out last year, actually around the same time as the Jezebels had theirs come out. Obviously not as much press and hype and everything, but this album that they got going, it's just a good punk rock indie piece of work.
I mean, that's great that you said the words indie there, because for me it really envisions back in the 90s when indie was a way of doing things, where it wasn't a fashion style. You weren't an indie band because you had skinny jeans on and an asymmetrical haircut. You were an indie band because you recorded, produced and released it yourself. Indie meant that you were so crazy passionate that the music was just spewing out of every orifice on your body, and you just had to get it out to people somehow. So to me, it was just a revelation. So, I mean, for me, it harkens back to great independent records back from the 90s. Obviously one that stands out for me, Guided by Voices, Bob Pollard, one of at least the most prolific, as if not one of the best songwriters of the 90s, and even up to now, he's still working now. It's got that loose, ramshackle feel. You know what was happening. There were four guys having a great time in the room when that was being recorded, and I think it really comes across on that record.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you know, this type of music, I listen to it, and if I want to get my bit of my punk rock on, I like this type of music. I normally don't listen to it too much, but I know it takes me back to the days when I used to be really into like Interpol and just kind of that more sharp punk rock. We're here, we're gonna play a song, get this shit done, and just I think it's some good work, and I hope they get a bit more of a profile happening as time goes on.
Did you say Interpol then?
Yeah.
Yeah, Interpol are actually one of my favourite bands, and it's funny, I was going to make that comparison when we were talking about the Jezebels, that as much as I love Interpol, they've been making the same album over and over, and even Paul's solo stuff is just another Interpol record. Like, they're, you know, as soon as I get the new Interpol record, I actually stop listening to the old one, because they're almost track-wise, you know what you're getting with an Interpol album, but I love it. So I think it's interesting then that there's that, for some reason, I love Interpol. I don't like the Jezebels. What's happening there? I don't know. Maybe there's something that
it's your loss, man.
that the Dark Princes of downtown New York bring to us that I'm not feeling here in the Jezebels. But when I listen to a record like that great Royal Headaches album, like, it's the melody that really lifts me. That you get that great contradiction between that rough, rock steady, rambling undercurrent of the music there. It's garage, it's going. But you've got this heartbreaking melody that just peeks through, like, every so often. It's like getting hit with a moonbeam straight from space.
Yes, a moonbeam from
That's what it is for me. Truly, it was a religious experience. And I mean, I think for a lot of people, I was just watching a great documentary this morning about the Who's album Quadrophenia, and they were talking about that how when rock and roll really came about, that was because it was the first time young people were ever employed. As a 15-year-old, you know, in the 60s, you could go and get a job, and before it was the first time that you had this disposable income. And I always think that when I listen back to, you know, like the Who, but even, you know, the Stooges and the MC5, you can hear that they're working men. You can hear the sounds of the factories, of the dreariness of the milk carts going past, the clanging of the trolleys. I think that was really what brought rock and roll its ethereal viciousness. That's what it is for me. And for some reason, I don't get that from the Jezebels. But I mean, that's something that you were saying, that you do get that exact feeling from the Jezebels.
Yeah, I don't know if I exact feeling like that way, but to me, music is music, and like, I think, you know, some of the really good stuff I've listened to has come from pain, and it's come from emotions and everything along those lines, but at the end of the day, if a song sounds good to me, that's the main thing, you know, and you don't necessarily have to go through this like oppression and struggle and everything to make good music, even though
it does help though. Listen to Patti Smith's Piss Factory.
It does help.
For it just here.
So yeah, from my experience, it does help, but you know.
Do you think that particularly the Jezebels are perhaps maybe a more intellectual, cerebral band than a gut reaction band?
Yeah, for sure. I think the first time I listened to them, like, the first time I ever came across them, I saw them support Tegan and Sarah, check them out, and, I thought they were amazing, but I don't know if it was just because I was so excited to see Tegan and Sarah. I was like, who are these people getting in the way? But, I was like, yeah, they're good, but it didn't hit me first up, and it was just slowly over time, as I just listened to them more and more, that I was like, oh my god, I love this band, and it's just really good on me. Yeah. I
was actually at that same show. Actually, I won't tell you what I was doing at a Tegan and Sarah show. Let's keep that secret camera. But I was actually blown away by the Jezebels for like the first 10 minutes. And then by the time they finished, half an hour later, I was like, don't need to see any more of that. But that's enough of my hatred for the Jezebels. While we're talking about intellectual, intelligent things, we're going to go to a little segment now where we discuss the news.